In the last video, we built a positional circle chart to give our order fulfillment team an actionable view into their priorities. In this video, we'll be using URL actions to add a layer of interactivity to our dashboard. First, we'll create a shipment priority queue that the warehouse can use to quickly see which order should be pulled and shipped next. Then we'll use a URL action to provide more information or interact with a web-based system. This could be a CRM or web-based shipping label creator, or in our case, just Google Maps. When we click on an order, it loads the name and zip code of the order. To create this priority queue, what we want to do is first create a new field that will tell us if an order is late, on time, or needs to be shipped today. Let's start with a new sheet, and we'll create a calculated field. We'll call it Ship Deadline Group. We want this formula to return late if the deadline is passed. Otherwise, if the ship deadline is upon us, then ship today. Otherwise, we still have time. We want the shipment to say on time. So let's say if days since order is greater than ship deadline plus 1, then late. Else if days since order is greater than the ship deadline, then ship today. Otherwise, it's still on time. Let's drag the ship deadline group out to rows. And see, we have our 3 buckets, and the order is probably a little wrong. We want to have late first, then ship today, then on time at the bottom. So to set this as the default to affect the field every time we use it, right-click over on the dimensions, default properties, sort, and we can use manual, and we can just move ship today above on time and hit apply. Now every time we use this field, it will default to this order. Now let's drag out order priority and do the same for that. We'll sort it manually, moving medium to go highest to lowest. Okay. Then let's group these items together by their order and their row ID. So now we get a message that warns us that we're going to pull a lot of marks onto the view, which could take a long time, and it suggests we filter first to limit the marks down to a more manageable set. So let's go ahead and do that by dragging not shipped yet out to our filters and choosing true. So we only want the orders that haven't been shipped, since this is a ship priority queue. Now let's add order ID and row ID. Now we want to have a bit more information displayed for each row ID, so let's drag out a few more fields to our labels. Product category, product subcategory, order quantity, product container, ship mode, and customer name. Tableau is giving us something similar. You might recognize this from Excel. When there's too much data to fit in the area that we've given it, it just turns into a bunch of pound signs. So let's go ahead and fix this. We'll make it wider first of all, but then we also want to turn this into a more readable format. So let's click on text and the ... And we can format and arrange these a way that makes maybe a little bit more sense. So product category, product subcategory, we can have those together. And then maybe on the next line, we want the order quantity in parentheses, and next to the product name, we should drag out a product name. Let's go ahead and hit apply. Save our progress. Product name to the label. Let's go back into the label. We'll move product name by the quantity. Let's make this line bold. And then let's add a few separation arrows in between product container. It's going via this ship mode to this customer. Hit preview and see what it's going to look like. One thing we can do is take off the decimal places, since I don't think we're going to ship any partial products. So we can do that by formatting, right-clicking on the cell, format. Right now it's set to automatic. We'll choose number custom with no decimal places. Now within this text edit box, you can do a number of things like changing colors or fonts, sizes obviously, in order to separate the most important information from the less important. Just don't go too crazy or it will feel like you're writing a ransom note. So let's go ahead and hit OK. This is a little squished, so we'll just drag out a little space, little extra space in between these rows. So now we have a very actionable, informative queue to allow the warehouse staff to prioritize their fulfillment by late first, then ship today, then on time, and within those ordered by order priority. So we can get the late critical orders out first, hopefully. So let's hop over to our dashboard. Actually, let's title this sheet first. Just call it order detail. And we'll drag out order detail to the right half of the dashboard. We can shrink this up a little bit. We also don't really need row ID. So let's go over to the order detail page. And for row ID, we'll right click and uncheck show header. Great, so back on our dashboard, let's go ahead and set this to entire fit width. That way we can get rid of the horizontal scroll bar. But we still have the vertical one, so that way they're not completely squished together. Still got a few rows where we could go for a bit longer or a bit wider set. Maybe we can get those to wrap. Yep, there we go. So just made them a little bit taller to account for the extra long product names. Now for the fun part, let's link each of these rows to a web query that will search Google Maps for the customer in their zip code. This implementation isn't terribly useful, but imagine what you could do by pointing it at your web-based CRM or a label-generating web app or something like that. So to do this, go to Dashboard, Actions, and we're going to add an action, URL. We want the action to be driven just by the order detail sheet, so uncheck circle chart, and we want it to happen when we click on the name, so click select. For the URL, put in http://maps.google.com/maps $Q equals, what Q stands for query, and we're going to pass into it the customer name. If we hit test link, we can see what this will look like in our browser. We have the option to encode the data values in the URL, which we should do to avoid sending special characters in our URL. Like it would convert a space to %20, which is the ASCII code for that character. Most modern browsers can go ahead and handle spaces and do the conversion for you, but it's better safe than sorry. Now you'll notice zip code isn't in our list yet because we haven't added it to our viz. So let's go ahead and hit OK to save our progress so far. And back on the order detail sheet, we'll drag zip code out to the detail on the marks card. The field needs to exist somewhere on the viz in order to use it in filter actions. So let's go back to the dashboard, dashboard actions, and then we'll edit this action. And now we can put in ampersand near equals zip code. Now zip code shows up in our list. You can use any number of parameters for any URL you'd like. The possibilities are endless here. So let's hit OK. By default, Tableau launches a browser window to fulfill the URL action request. So a browser popped up on my other monitor here. But we can set this to appear right in the dashboard if we'd like. So to do this, drag the web page element out to the bottom right quartile of the dashboard. We'll use just a blank URL here. And so now there's nothing in this web page element, but when we click on a URL action, it's automatically handled within the web page element. So now we can select another order with another name, and it should be Googling for these people and their location. So in this video, we covered label formatting and learned the powerful capabilities of web page and URL integration, which open up a world of options for us. We can create these URL actions by going to Dashboard, Actions, and choosing the URL under the Add menu. In the next video, we'll be working with moving between dashboard sheets in a drill-down fashion.